I didn't see you there. Welcome to Heroes Workshop. I am Stealth, host of this show. You came to the right place. You're in good hands. Today's video, I'm going to be building the classic Doomguy helmet from Doom Eternal. That's right, from the original 1993 game. That version, the one where he's on the cover and he's like, oh, get off me! Get off me! Yeah, that one. I love that design. It's so, simple, but it's so cool. So if you want to build your own classic Doomguy helmet, the foam peppercorn file template, you can get it from the link below. And follow along all the tips and tricks and apply them to your own build. And as always, if you're new to Pepakura, foam building, and cosplay in general and you want to get started, this is a great way to get into the hobby. I have an in-depth video on my channel and learn all the techniques. You can build a sample project and then you can apply all those techniques you learned on a sample project on any foam Pepakura file you come across, and it should be no problem. That way, it landed so softly, I'm so glad. The glasses will live to see another day. It's nice to do another Doom related build. I did the Doom Eternal Doomslayer helmet last year. It turned out really nice. If you guys want to check out that video, click the top right card that opens up and you can see how I built it. But yeah, I don't want to drag this on too much. Doomguy is all business, so Stealth's going to be all business. See you guys later. Remember when printing the Pepakura file templates to print on cardstock paper, so that way the templates aren't flimsy when you're tracing them onto the foam. I have all your printed sheets, and now you're going to cut these templates out using a hobby knife or utility knife. I merged some of the template pieces with tape to create bigger pieces. This makes it easier to trace onto the foam and reduce even more seams. Then you trace the templates onto the foam. Remember to flip the template to get the other side. Also refer to the Pepakura designer on curves and angled cuts and raised areas. Foam thickness I used is 6mm, 1/4 inch thick. Should be fine for this helmet. You notice that I added a gluing tab in a lot of the areas here. That's so another section can kind of connect to it. So that way you don't have to do any kind of awkward bevels just to get two sections to connect. This is a technique that I always do. It makes it a lot easier. Another thing is I always get asked what kind of bevel to cut or how do you know. Always refer to the Pepakura foam tutorial and that will explain how to bevel, what kind of bevel to use, and when to bevel. It'll teach you what kind of angle to do and how to use the Pepakura designer software to look at the model and assess what kind of angle degree you're going to do on that piece of foam. So always use that video to reference techniques that you can apply to this project as well. I'm going to cut out all the pieces and then we can start assembling the classic Doomguy helmet. Remember to heat shape any curved pieces. I use a heat gun and I form the pieces that need a curve on a styrofoam ball, which is raised up by a roll of tape. To glue all the pieces together, I use contact cement. I place the contact cement on both edges and I apply it using a piece of scrap foam and I spread it on the edge very thin. And then I use a heat gun to accelerate the drying time of the contact cement until it gets to a tacky state. And that's when I can assemble the foam pieces together. then use a rotary tool with a sanding bit, and I round off a lot of the sharp edges on the foam just to give them a more softer look. I even sanded some seams just to round off those edges as well. Then I go over all the areas where I sanded with the heat gun to reduce some of the roughness, and it also helps kind of reform the shape of the edge into a more smooth kind of consistency. Then I use some quick seal. I use it to fill a lot of the seams and other imperfections. I also use it to cover some of the roughness from the sanding. Then once the quick seal is dry, I go over that with some 4000 grit sandpaper just to kind of level it all out if I use a little bit too much in certain areas. Then it was time to do the details on the helmet. So I got some reference for the Doomguy helmet online for the actual mass-produced helmet. So I used that. So then I followed that reference and just kind of drew all over the helmet using a pen. And then once all the details were drawn, I used a knife to score the lines. I didn't cut through, just kind of lightly all over the helmet. And then I went over all the lines that I scored with a heat gun. The heat opens up the lines and makes them show up a lot more. It makes them really stand out. So I go over, usually on a helmet like this, I went over 2 times just so they really stood out. I did some physical damage on the helmet. I matched the reference pictures that I had. So I kind of pre-drew where I was going to do the damage, and then with a wood burning tool I just carved out that damage directly into the foam and different areas you can see, and got it as close as I can to the source material. Then I sealed the helmet in Bounce rubberizer solution. It's great for foam. It's pretty much like a PVA glue with a rubber additive. You can also use tacky glue. This stuff is great as well. I used this on my ODST helmet and it worked just as good. It's just a little bit thicker to work with, so it takes a little bit longer to apply. So I just put 1 coat, and then when it's dry, it's ready to paint. Okay, it's time for the rules of the giveaway. All you have to do is like the video. So if you're watching, just like the video. That's it. Those are the stealth bucks, the currency at Heroes Workshop, the likes. And also comment down below what helmet you want to win. So say, I want to win the classic Doomguy helmet. Or say, I want to win the Doomslayer helmet from Doom Eternal. And then just say what country you're from. It's always nice to know where everyone's from. Just be like, at the end of your comment, just be like, hey, I'm from Brazil, obrigado. I'm from Russia, privyet. I'm from France, I'm from Italia, I'm from Canada, sorry. I'm from Denmark. So that's all you got to do to win one of the 2 helmets. You find out the winner in next week's tutorial. So if you want to subscribe, that's cool too. That way you won't miss if you win or not. So you won't be asking, hey, who won? It's in next week's video. That's where it is. Let's keep this video moving, because I'm tired. Okay. So it's time to paint the helmet. I just used a gray acrylic primer that I mixed for the base coat, just to cover up all the marker and pen and all that quick seal, just so it doesn't show through the base layer. Then I mixed my own dark blue to serve as the base layer for the Doomguy helmet. My airbrush broke, so I had to hand paint the iron color for certain areas, especially the front of the mouth, some side details on the visor. And then I mixed a gunmetal color just to paint the trim of the visor area and also the sides and the lower trim of the back section. Then I painted any areas black, like the vents and those breather things on the side. And I also painted the inside of the battle damage just so it has like another layer of depth before you do the silver. Then I used a silver Sharpie just to go over that black, just so like I said, so there's more layers just to get to that silver, so it adds a nice touch. I just went over these areas lightly. You don't need to go too much or color it like completely. Leave some of the black in there. Then I used some metallic silver. I just kind of wet it and I dried out the brush on a piece of paper and then just literally dry brushing, so the brush is completely dry but it still has some paint on it just to give it the edges kind of like a worn effect, so like metal exposed. So I went over a lot of areas on this helmet. I just kind of matched the reference. I don't usually do this much, but that's what it looked like. So I got this green visor material, so I took the visor template and I traced onto the plastic. I traced it and I also added an inch gluing tab, so that way there's actual material that will allow me to glue the visor to the inside of the helmet. I used a silver Sharpie to do the outside line because I don't want to see that silver Sharpie on the inside, because then it'll be really noticeable. Then I use the heat gun to heat up the plastic to make it easier to actually cut with scissors. Then I use contact cement to apply glue to the gluing tab. And then once that was done, I applied it to the inside of the helmet and then I installed the visor. Then I soldered a 9-volt battery connector to an SMD LED strip, and I just, soldered everything together, and I glued it into the top of the helmet, so that way the LEDs point straight down onto my face. And with that, the classic Doomguy helmet was complete. Alright, another build in the books. The classic Doomguy helmet is complete. Painted, weathered, battle damage, light in the visor. Turned out really nice. I love the dark blue with the gunmetal and that iron color and all the weathering. This is so cool to see in real life. I never thought I'd ever make this helmet. Yeah, I like it. Hope you guys like it too. Like I said, if you guys want to build your own classic Doomguy helmet, everything is below the Pepakura foam file link. And remember to watch the tutorial how to build Pepakura in foam, and pay attention to this intro. A lot of people, they skip the intros and they're like, I can't open the file, man. And I'm like, did you watch the intro? And they're like, oh no, I skipped ahead. Don't skip the intro. It has important info. So if you skip the intro, go back and then you understand how to build with Pepakura in foam. So that's it. I'm out of things to say, which is amazing because I never run out of things to say. This is Stealth from Heroes Workshop, and I'm sure you're going to see me next week. Yeah, there will. Yeah. All right, bye.